Yes.
I was just wondering, you mentioned as the mind becomes still, you see the water becomes still on top, but all of a sudden you can see the track.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how common that is for, you start to be still, you're walking around stillness, then all of a sudden you see these things that you didn't see before, and they can be quite confronting.
Yes. And that's why sometimes some people that they're worried, they thought that, oh, maybe I'm not, I have no progress, Actually, the whole path practice is that there is different level of mindfulness. So as a mindfulness become, stronger and stronger, so then our mind become more and more refined. It's just like, for example, people sometimes, some people have a very refined taste bud. Say taste the tea. For me, tea is tea. No matter you give me what tea is, to me is one taste. I can't taste, like people can taste, those wine, what year, what kind of wine. I can't tell, but in fact, I don't drink wine, Even if I drink, I don't even know, isn't it? I can't tell. Like people, I know some people have a very refined taste. It's the same thing, that you become more refined. And it's many layers. Sometimes you think that when you first practice, you take out the top layer, and then you hit that. You see that. Then after that, you deal with that. You overcome that, and your mind become peaceful again. Then because when your mind become peaceful and more refined, then you're ready for second layer. And then you hit another second layer, it's come. And then things that, I thought I already let go of, I'm still holding on. Some of the things that hasn't come up for a long time. So we think that we already dealt with, already resolved, we no longer holding on. But because of it, some of them is very deep, buried underneath. So it's just like, one layer. So it's sometimes like, you go peaceful for a little while, like on a plateau for a little while, then you go deeper, you hit another layer. And after that, you overcome that, then you have to do more work, Then that's helped you, because your mind, you have the strength to do that. Because sometimes the problem sometimes that we unable to see those, but because also our mind also not ready, and our mind is not, mindfulness is not strong enough, and the mind is not refined enough to really deal with that. So then until the mind is ready, so another layer, it's just like those onions you keep peeling off, you still have another layer. Sometimes you think that we already resolved our emotion. I already resolved, because it didn't come up for a long time, Then we think, it will never come out, and then one day we hit you again. We have even some very experienced meditators. They've gone through a trauma in the childhood, like they see her mother died in front of her, suicide. And that's really hit her. And then she's been practicing, and she's even a Dharma teacher. Then after 20 years practice, and one day that's again hit her, and she can't stop crying. She just cannot stop crying. She just cries, very emotional. It comes out, because that is really deep. You see, it took her 20 years to go through that, because you only take up the top layer, but haven't go to that really, because that's really struck her. That especially when you're a child, that happen, and that is a very difficult to work on. So that's why you have to take up. It's just like a big tree. You cannot just uproot the whole tree. So you have to cut off the branches, slowly the trunk, and then slowly you come to the root. So this the practice is like that. You deal with the causal level, you call causal defilements. So you deal with the causal defilements. Slowly you go to more refined. The refined is a difficult one, because we don't even see it ourselves. Because it's so refined, it's very subtle, and sometimes we don't even know that we're having that. So that is it takes times, but you can see that your wholesome state of mind actually increase, unwholesome state of mind decrease. Like, of course, we sometimes still feel frustration, or we feel unhappy. It's normal, but the level of happiness, you can see that your level of happiness increase. As a level of mindfulness increase, you become more bright, you become more energetic, and that's the energy. So there's happiness. So the level of happiness increase. So then, as a purity of your mind, increase, you become purer and purer, and then your level of happiness will grow. You see, like for example, you look at kids, they're naturally happy, isn't it? Because they don't have so much, they don't think so much. They're pure, their mind is pure. Because our suffering is come from our defilements, those negative qualities that causes us suffering. So the whole path of practice is we have to keep cleaning, remove all the gross, defilements that causes suffering. So as our mind becomes purer and purer, we naturally become happier and happier. The happiness, the level will increase. So am I answer your questions? That makes sense to you? Okay. Yes.
I'm just wondering that as you go down with the layers, does it actually get more intense, the stuff that you deal with when those emotions do come up, even though there might be calmness some of the time, that those emotions are more intense?
It's maybe more intense, but when you get to that, and don't forget your level of mindfulness also increase. You always have the strength to be able to work on that. So it may be intense, but it's manageable. Because as you go deeper, you already build up your momentum, you build up your strength to be able to work on that. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Well, my question is, if a child experiences a very inner fear, like fear of death, is it? Do you think that inner insecurities would be transferred from the previous life?
Not necessarily. We all fear of death, isn't it? Anyone of you here to fear of death? Isn't it? Fear of death is quite natural because we don't know where we're heading to. Something that we don't know, hating the unknown. So then we for example, even we go to a place that we've never been to, meeting people that we don't know, we're a bit nervous also, isn't it? What is going to happen? It's natural because I've come from the sense of self. Because a sense of self being challenged. Because we want to make sure that everything under control. So make sure everything that, we sometimes we rather hold on to the familiarity, the things that we're familiar with, even though it causes us suffering, but at least we know. But something that we don't know, this always gives rise to fear. So that's why it's always come back. I remember when I was young, and when I think of, if what happened if I die? Then I think of that. I said, never mind, I'm still young. Okay, it won't happen soon. Push it aside. So as I grow up, and then especially after my mother passing away, and this is something that I truly have to face it. I look at it that I can't really always keep. This is how we run away, isn't it? It's unpleasant, I don't want to look at it. So that's why it's good that we have to learn to look at it. That's why the contemplation on death is good. That is we might die anytime. So that's why the practice present moment awareness is good because you bring your mind back to this present. Rather than you keep thinking, what if this happened, what if that happened, you bring and you learn. Actually, you have to condition our mind, to train our mind that learn to make peace with whatever experience, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. But we always get caught up with pleasant and unpleasant feelings. When it's pleasant, we hold on to that, don't go away, stay forever, I want to be happy forever. You can't, isn't it? Then something that is unpleasant, go away immediately, I don't want to experience it now. That actually, it stay longer. So that's why sometimes we rather than we just say, okay, you just recognize that how I feel, I'm happy. This is how I feel happy. Yes, it's just happy. Just leave it and just stay with that. Just stay with whatever experience that you've been experiencing. Just stay with that. because sometimes it's actually it's natural that, that because our sense of self being challenged, something that we don't know can be scary. We don't know what we are going to face, what's going to come out. So that's why you take lots of practice. That it's okay, that's something that I don't know. So, and to develop the positive attitude. That it's okay that I don't know something happened, I don't know. Because for us, it's like what we plan, when we do our planning, so it's always based on what we know, isn't it? We do this will happen, that will happen. Because it's happened before in the past. That's why we expect that to happen. But if things that we never experienced before, things that we don't know, so things that we never experienced before, that, that's the things that we don't know. So that's why sometimes it's okay. There's no good or bad experience. If those things happen that we don't know, we learn more. Oh, I learned another thing. Learn more. So because all the planning that we do is all based on what we know in the past. So that's why you think, oh, this will happen, that happen. But sometimes none of that will happen. And then I know someone tell me that this person, actually she's been worried about the plan. That actually I have changed the plan. And she's been worried about 2 weeks, Then after that, she come to me, I said, I've changed the plan. Oh, I've been worrying about 2-3 weeks for nothing. But then, because I should have come and see you and check your plan. Because normally, I normally don't tell nuns that. It's not that I'm being secretive, because sometimes I don't want to let people know things far ahead. Because you know what happened? People start to think too much. So normally they have no choice. Last minute you tell them to do, they have to do it. Actually, it's for me, it's for their own benefit. So they're less thinking, they don't think so much. You just have to deal with it. You just have to do it. But if you let people know ahead, then the mind is go on and on. Keep thinking, the too much thinking. The problem is now that people thinking too much, that actually drain lots of mental energy. Okay, yeah.
I had a recent experience where a sense of self kind of disappeared. And what happened was I was having an argument with my partner, and it triggered a reaction in me, and something that I had kept hidden for many, many years came up in this huge explosion. I experienced this immense anger, grief, sorrow, sadness, frustration, all of that was coming up. But at the same time, as I disappeared into this place, my sense of self kind of disappeared as well. So I didn't feel myself, and it was a very strange feeling. So I was wondering whether, I recall what you said about insanity, and also whether it was something else called, maybe it was pure consciousness, I don't know. It's just that it was a very, very deep place that I went to, and it only lasted maybe for a minute or so, and I was also becoming aware of another part of me that came up and said, and sort of stood beside this person that was crumbling, and it sort of tried to pull me away. And then the inner child in me, I think it was the inner child, sort of stamped the foot and said, no, go away, I need to go into this deep place. So I'm really curious, also slightly confused as to what that episode was all about.
Okay, it's like that because because you've been suppressing for a long time, and that is a limit. When you come to a point that you cannot suppress, this whole thing was like a volcano will just come out. And then that moment you said that you lost, it's not that you lost the sense of self, that moment because you've been overcome by the emotion, because it's so intense, because however long you have been suppressing, however intense is it, the intensity is equivalent to how much you have, the pressure that have to push. So the more you pressure, they say, the more we suppress. So when it's explode, the intensity is the same as how much energy you put in. Then it's a bounce back the same, equivalent to how much you have put in. It comes out that the energy is really great. And that moment, that's when your mind completely overcome by the emotion. So that's why that is that kind of, we have that, it's not that you truly like the insane, but that you have that moment, that insane, that not you. Not you. I mean, yeah. That's why a lot of people couldn't remember. We have this person could not remember how she killed her husband. Also, she don't even know, because that moment also she was really. When someone insane, you completely know mindfulness, because we all have mindfulness, but on different level. So when someone completely know mindfulness, that means you're really insane. But of course, yours is just that in that moment. It's not that really, you're insane. Because we all sometimes have the moment, lost our mind, the whole. That's why this is how when we develop that, that's why by suppressing, actually, some people think that they have already dealt with, but actually it's not. So you've been suppressing for a long time, but it's good that it comes out. And now you start to practice. When it's come, then we be able to release that emotion skillfully. That's why sometimes you have to get that emotion out. We have to release the emotion. We have to release it. You can, if you keep pushing in. That's why sometimes I say it's good if you find that you need to air. I say if at home you have a sandbag, you can just punch the sandbag and release, rather than you shout at other people, because they have to get it out. And sometimes people find the exercise is good. When they exercise, they take all the emotion out, because you have to release. Because it's very dangerous. If you push it down, if you suppress it, sometimes we can do a little bit. For example, if outside, while you're in the middle of something and your friends, you can do a little bit. But that is also sometimes can be dangerous. But if you develop a habit to suppress, then you do it without aware that you're doing it, because it becomes part of, it's become like default setting. You just do it like automatic pilot without knowing that you're doing it. It becomes a habit that you keep suppressing. So when to the point that you cannot suppress, the whole thing will just explode. It's just like, for example, we have only one rubbish bin. Sometimes we have more rubbish, and then sometimes the nun have to go in there and stamp so that you can put in more rubbish. But even to a point that even you go in there and jump into that also, still full. So that is how it's built up. It's full. You can't even keep the lid on. Can't hold anymore. So when you come to a point you cannot hold, so when there is a trigger, it's just like the bomb is already there, waiting someone to lead. And that's explore. Actually, it's nothing to do with the person who triggers. Sometimes it's nothing to do with it. You've been built up, you've been like cooking for a long time. So you just only need one person to lead that bomb is will just explode. Okay. Yes.
I can understand, practicing forgiveness,
Ah.
loving kindness to interpersonal relationships, people, our family, our friends, and I like that idea. Either trying to forgive them or forgiving ourselves for not forgiving them. But I keep thinking about like governments or corporations that make decisions, people in power that make decisions to knowingly perpetuate or inflict injustices on groups of people or on our environment. And I feel like I don't want to forgive them, and I don't want to forgive myself for not forgiving them. Like, I want to be really fucking angry.
Okay.
And so what's your advice? Because I feel like from that rage and anger comes action, and I have a question.
It takes a bit of time. Sometimes yes, you keep fighting. Like for example, I fight. Okay, I'm not like this, and I cannot accept that myself, that I'm not that kind, and you keep struggle a little bit. And because you don't have enough suffering, that's why you can't let go. When you have enough suffering, you okay. Oh, I have enough. Okay, let it be. It's just that it takes time, and eventually I let go because I have enough suffering. If I keep fighting, You know, but because it's only, it causes you suffering. If that anger, you don't feel, it's not pleasant. So then when you have enough, then you care. It's truly when you have enough suffering, you can let go. Sometimes people ask me, why can't I let go? Then I say, because you don't suffer enough. You suffer enough, you let go. I can guarantee you, come from my experience. You know. So up to a point that, do whatever. Like sometimes you think, and just just as people ask me, is it how you train your nun? How you train your nun? I said, I don't train them. They train themselves. Whatever they want to do, let them do. I mean, of course, like with teen, you know, like not over the top. You know, sometimes you have to give people space to work on the own defilements, you know, give them space, and also the trust in others. So I know sometimes it's easy said and done. Actually, it takes time. So that you have to continue, keep brainwash yourself until it's sinking. It takes a bit of time to really sink in. So don't worry. Eventually, you know, if you keep doing that, you know, one of the saying, you know, you fake it until you make it. Okay. So you just have to keep reconditioning, telling yourself. It's just like I told you the day before yesterday that, like my grandson, when my daughter asked him, calm down, please calm down, please calm down. I don't want to calm down, I don't want to calm down. He keeps saying that, I don't want to calm down, I want to get angry. Then each time when he got angry, the mother said the same thing. Eventually, one day he said to his mother, I want to calm down, leave me alone. You see, it works. It works, but it just need a bit of time. Because the mind is a conditioned thing. So we need to keep, it's just like those advertisements. It's really brainwash. You watch it all the time, they keep telling you that you need this. You'll be happy if you have this. So this is people buy in, isn't it? If not, why they spend so much money on advertisement if it doesn't work? It's work. Because sometimes we think that we make our choice, isn't it? Actually, we didn't. Because we've been conditioned, someone keep telling us. It's the same thing like we associate with someone. Like if someone that used to swear a lot, at the beginning you feel uncomfortable, you don't swear. But I can guarantee you, if you stay with the person day in, day out long enough, eventually you swear. The mind is already conditioned. We condition ourselves in a good way. So it takes a bit of time. So I hope that answers your questions. Makes sense. So any more questions? Yes?
You mentioned the idea of momentum in meditation a couple of times now. Could you expand on that a little bit?
The momentum is that when we start to build up our mindfulness, so we get like the momentum, like we get like more smooth. Like for example, like sometimes our mindfulness sometimes a little bit like, you know, up and down, you know, go this way. Sometimes we're very bright, and sometimes you know we are quite blurred, you know. But when we build up the momentum, then it's a bit more even. So you have the more evenness, like our mindfulness becomes like evenness and more stable and steady. It's not like this. So at the beginning, you know, then we be able to be more, your mind become more even and more stable, not up and down. So one moment, I'm so happy. One moment your mind is blurred. So because your mindfulness is not even, not stable. So when you build up the momentum, then your mindfulness is pretty much, maybe you got a little bit, but not like certainly it's high and low, but a bit more, you know, that, you know, more even. They have the evenness. So does that answer the questions? Yes.
When you talked about layers before coming up into the past, but it's, I guess your mind is active in reliving those experiences or conversations, whatever it is. What's the best way to actually overcome that then? Is it trying to do mindfulness, or is that considered suppressing it to some extent? Do you need to get yourself to a peaceful state and then contemplate it, or accept that it's happened, or what's your advice?
So if you suppress it, and next time it comes up, become more intense. So you don't encourage you to suppress it, because you suppress it, it was still there. That's why we have to learn to release, to let it come up by itself and will subside by itself. So that it won't come up, as it will release itself without reinforce. That's why practice present moment awareness is good, because the mind already gone to the future, gone to the past. So you bring your mind back to present moment awareness. Then do breathing exercise or your body awareness, to aware of your bodily sensations. When you have this emotion, how do you feel your body? Is it you have lots of tension in your body, or you feel so tight in your chest? Or some people feel vomiting. Some people when they have the emotion, they vomit. We have people vomit, and some people have diarrhea. Truly, I have people have the emotion, they have diarrhea, but because it's manifest in the body. Then slowly, actually, when you have mindfulness and awareness, you practice awareness of your body, you'll be able to catch that. Whenever that emotion that comes out, then you know, then it becomes more and more manageable. Like I told this, I mentioned that person that have this fear come out. He said, out of nowhere, suddenly it just pops out, and sometimes can be very, very, very intense. So he just stopped, and he just do the breathing exercise, you know. It just takes 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and then it will subside. Just let it subside, because everything arises. In fact, you don't have to do anything. It will subside by itself. But the problem is, we being conditioned, we have to do something. We have to stop it, because it's unpleasant. So we try to do something to stop it. But when we try to stop it, actually it becomes counterproductive. So that's why we develop this non-reactive awareness. We are aware of that, but we don't react. It's just watching the emotion come out, and it will subside by itself. But be able to do that, you need the stability of your mind have to be stable enough to do that. So if your mind not stable enough to do that, it's good that go back to your body awareness or the breathing exercise. So that answer your questions? Okay. Yes.
Could you elaborate a little bit more between contemplation and thinking? I find the difference quite difficult to understand.
So for example, if your mind, you know that your mind is not peaceful, and then that is not the time that you contemplate. Normally, contemplation is always good to be done after meditation, because when your mind becomes peaceful, you'll be able to understand it's more deeper level. Your mind becomes more receptive. But if you do it before, because your mind is not peaceful enough, then when you do that, because you think that you contemplate, but you will suck into the thinking and try to analyze. There's sometimes that, for example, we do use contemplation for sometimes where we have intense fear, but we can't do it. We have to do it when our mind a little bit calmer. And that should have to reduce the intensity of the fear. So that's why you have to know when to use it. It's just like a carpenter. You have different tools. You know when is time, when I use this, when I shouldn't use this. For example, if people have this intense fear, fear of the future, and then you do body awareness, relaxation, and then your mind becomes pretty calm. but you still have that, not completely calm yet, and that you can that reflection is help because your mind is, you still have the peace. That is help. And it's always good to do, we always encourage people to do it after. Because when after your mind become peaceful and calm, your mind become more receptive. It's easy to sink in. Does that answer your questions? Yes.
I have a question related to hers. Like, you can see her and a group of people or a population doing harm for others or inflicting pain on others. Obviously, I think maybe even if one is meditative, but anger, a sort of sadness will fill the heart. So what is Buddhism's stand on it? Like we witness silently, we go home, chill, meditate, or we take action and use violence to kill the violence, we just witness it and meditate.
Okay, so normally we don't like encourage that, and sometimes if we can do something about it skillfully, not something illegal, but of course we always discourage to use violence because you can anger will not appease anger, only by peace. But if we can help the situation, if we can do something about it, we do our best, we do something about it. But if we can't really do something about it, then at least we go back, but we don't encourage that. Because violence is always, this anger will not be a peace anger, only by peace. Is the answer your question? And sometimes sometimes we can only do our best. For example, like nowadays people talk about, being environment friendly, look after the earth and things like that. For me, that's a lot of people think, how much I can do, everybody is doing this, But if everybody think the same as I do, and no one will look after the earth, isn't it? But so, for example, like we have many people want to offer us things. Like for example, like our rice cooker. Actually, it's not expensive thing, but we still go and fix it. I take it to fix it. It's not. Someone said, why didn't you get a new one? Why you want to fix it? Because I don't want to have too much rubbish. I try to reduce even those. Yes, it costs money. I need to fix it, but I'm thinking of at least I do my part. At least I do my best. At least I try to use less, a plastic bag. I do my part. So do what we can within our limit. So if everybody thinks, it doesn't matter, I can't help much, other people has been doing that, but we do our part, our part, what we can do, what we can help. If we can speak up, if we speak up can help the person, we speak up. So that's why the Buddha said right speech. So we practice right speech and not right silence. Sometimes we need to speak up, we speak up.
What if you do the right speech out and then you got killed? What if you do the right thing? So I'm a Burmese. And as soon as I get out of this monastery, I'll be hearing a lot of news about my country. I find out how innocent civilians being killed. So they've been protesting peacefully and they get killed. So how do we proceed?
That's why sometimes we cannot control other people's actions. So in fact, it's always go back to ourselves that you make the decision. We take responsibility for whatever we do. So if we decide that this is what the right thing to do, we are not harming someone. But if other people still kill us, but you will not have the bad karma of being killed. But the person who killed you have the bad karma.
So will we have bad karma if we kill those bad people?
is because the intention, the energy is there, the hatred is there. Because, for example, you have to have enough anger in order to kill someone. That is the negative emotion, the energy is there.
To bring them to justice, what is the right way to bring them to justice?
I mean, not through violence, you know. So through, you know, we try to be as skillful as we can. And sometimes situation like that is quite difficult. Life is like that. Like life is just whatever. Sometimes you will put in the situation that whatever you do is also not right. That sometimes you don't have win-win situation. Sometimes that you just have, each one of us just have to use our own discretion to make your own decision. But always remember that you don't come from the place have any intention to cause any hurt or harm. And whatever happens, sometimes is beyond our control. That is part of life. And we can't fix all the problem, but we can always care, you know. So when we see things happen like that, so okay, we send loving kindness, we feel sorry for the person. If I can help, if I can do something, we do something. Like for example, recently we have a fire near Tilton Park, you know, near Kijikenap. And then, you know, then they said, oh, they're doing some clearing up. And they said, can they borrow our excavator? I said, of course we can borrow our excavator. So whatever we can do, we try to help, you know. But also we don't, because, and someone suggested they should put a poster in the post office telling that we care. I said, no, because sometimes you don't know how they perceive it. They might think it that we, when you put a poster, it's like we advertise ourselves. You know, true, this is how people perceive. I remember early days when I started to meditate and involve more, you know, in Buddhism and things like that, I was thinking, oh, this is something good. Actually, truly, I come from a good place. I tried to tell my friend, you know, and then they all run away from me. She tried to, people think that I tried to convert. Actually, I didn't come from the place. I'm not like trying to convert or whatever. And then so now I learned that normally I allow people to approach me, but I don't approach them because, especially for us, in robes, people think that we try to convert them. So now, me, okay, you're interested, you ask me, you approach me, okay, I will let you know, but I will never approach because it's been, people perceive that way that we advertise, you know, we don't. So, but they need help, we help. So just, you have to use your own discretion. That's why, again, the wisdom, you know, the understand that how to act appropriately, what you can do, what we can't do. So that's why, again, to know our limitation as well, our strength, what are the things we can help, what are the things we cannot help. Sometimes we just can't do anything. That's part of life. The same thing.
The way I see it is that, you know, Burmese people keep forgiving them.
Uh-huh.
And government keep abusing their power.
Mm-hmm.
Suppressing people for over 70 years now. And this has to change. How to change it?
That's right. That's why people have to change, and those people want to change, then they be the one who elected. You just have to. Yeah. So this is some of these things like just sometimes it's just beyond us, but we can just do what we can. If we can do a little bit, we still do. If, for example, if people need you can spread a bit of kindness, or people need help, or there's any refugee, if we can donate money, we can donate some money. And at least we know we contribute a little bit. So do what we can. If we can contribute, we contribute. And that's part of life. They say someone, oh, this, you know, when you're living in the world, there's always have problems to solve. So, and then sometimes there's no solution, I can tell you. Life, lots of things have no solution. So since there's no solution, it's not a problem, you can't solve it, then it's not a problem. We can only do our best, do what we can. But we can't solve all the problem, but we can always care. Remember that. It's just like doctors. You can't cure everyone, isn't it? But being a doctor, you can always care for your patient, isn't it? Have your love for your patient. You can always have that. Even though you can't really cure the person, but at least you care for the person, you care for your patient, you love your patient. This is enough. And this is within our limitation. Because if we try to do things that beyond our limitation again, because suffering to ourselves, it's not helping ourselves, and it's also not helping others. So, okay. Life is like that. They can't resolve. Sometimes, lots of things, there's no solution. Anything one just now? Yes?
You talked about doing your best and just being content with it. And I was wondering, how do you measure when you're doing your best and when you know when you're doing your best versus when you can be trying and doing better?
Okay, so for example, sometimes the things that I've seen that is this part there's a danger in it. So I will alert people. I will do that. Please, don't do that. But if people still don't listen, but at least I know I did my part. But for example, if I'm aware of that, I do nothing. I just keep quiet. Then I know that I'm not doing my part. So for example, I need to teach, I need to give a talk. So I say, never mind, I just simply blah, 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 say something, and then that's it, But then I'm not really doing my best. I'm not truly listening. So that's why I keep asking any more questions or comments or people want to clarify. So I'm doing my best to try to, to really help. And if people are not clear, then I can clarify your doubts and things like that. So I do on my part. I know that I already, I did my very best, on my part. Especially some things that you're aware that you have concern about certain things, but you didn't take any action, then that means you're not doing your best, you're not doing your part. So we have responsibility if we know there's something that is someone in danger or is at risk, or you have concern. So we raise a concern. So if the person don't listen, it's that person's problem. Because if you concern, that this person at risk, or the situation endanger that person. So we raise our voice, we tell the person, look, do you know that you're at risk? You better, I'm really concerned, you better do something about it. So then you have to leave it to the person. If the person just ignore what you said, but what can you do? But you know that you have done your part. You said what you need to be said, but up to that person to take action. Okay. Does that answer your question? Yes, any more questions or comments? Yes.
When it comes to sitting meditation, apart from focusing on breathing and outdoor and bodily sensation, what would be your suggestions on like a mind meditation or focusing on mind?
Focusing on mind, that is more like focusing on the mental object. So mental object, because it's a more subtle object. So it's not that you can't do that, but your mindfulness have to be strong enough in order to do that. That's why I always encourage people go from coarser level to more refined level. And you can't force the mind. You have to go, a gradual training. You have to train your mind. Because to look at to observe, to watch your mental object, because it's more refined. But if your mindfulness is not strong enough, actually you suck into that. You've been part of that. And without knowing, because it's very, very subtle. So
there are moments,
where I feel the type of, focusing on breathe in and out.
Uh-huh.
And I just, and it's sometimes not that obvious anymore.
Uh-huh.
Settled in. Is anyway like, I felt like, some people watch, in the center just to, the mind stays there or,
Oh, it's even you can't follow the breath, so you don't go into mind object because they're even more subtle. So actually you go back to the cause. Sometimes when the breath becomes very subtle because the mindfulness is not strong enough. Because the object is more subtle than your mind. Your mindfulness is not refined enough to be able to keep going, maintain, sustain with the object. So that's why what you need to do, you need to re-establish and build up your mindfulness again, strengthen your mindfulness again. So that's why you have to go to a causal object. Sometimes you can continue with your breath, but maybe you can put a little bit more effort, a little bit in your breath. Like, but when the breath becomes very subtle, you can just don't do it this way because you stir your mind up. So you make it a little bit coarser, your job. But you don't try to do that all the time because after you develop that habit, then your mind cannot become peaceful, become still. So that's why sometimes again, the practice that, over a period of time, so you know for yourself, like, you start to develop the confidence to understand yourself, and you know when to use this technique or that technique. Because each time is different. It's not like one size fits all. I can't say that you have to do this all the time. At times you do not need that. At times you just sit there, just stay with the feeling, sensation, just stay until it becomes, sometimes you just stay there doing nothing. Sometimes naturally the breath comes so peaceful, very clear, and sometimes even the breath is very soothing. Actually, when breath is become very soothing and you have the delights in the breath, actually that is the reflection of your mind. That's how we perceive the breath, whether it's smooth or whether you have delights in the breath. Actually, it's come from your mental state that reflects your mind, your mental state. So that is the object. It's just like an anchor point. You have something to work. So does that answer your question? Yes.
When you're going through the layers and cleaning up all the dark,
Mm.
and you've got the tension in your body,
Uh-huh.
you can't name the emotion.
Uh-huh.
How important is that to name the emotion, or is it not important at all? Or how can you resolve something that you can't name?
Okay. So actually, you don't try to analyze and don't try to label that emotion. Just stay with how you feel. Tension is hard, you know that it's hard. Don't say that, oh, this is tension, this is, and then actually, then that you were sucked into the thinking. And then you become like you're thinking about it rather than you just be with that.
Acknowledge it, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
You mentioned yesterday that it's normal to be thinking while you're meditating or to have thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning that anything negative or from the past,
Mm-hmm.
just breathe it out and
Mm-hmm.
try to let it go. But what is normal or constructive thinking while you're meditating?
Okay.
What's good?
There's sometimes even those good, there's those like constructive, like those positive thoughts. But also because that then we still, sometimes if the thinking itself is the activities of the mind is moving.
Yes.
But we want to still the mind. Even something good, you just acknowledge that. You say, okay, yes, I'm still thinking, go back.
So don't think about what you're cooking for dinner.
No. Yeah, because you already go to the future. That what you are going to do is even not something bad, but bring your mind back. So you learn to be present. So even practice present moment awareness doesn't mean that I can't do anything, Because so present moment awareness, that means you be with what you are doing right now. For example, if you're cleaning dishes, doing dishes, so you fully here, you fully clean. But how many of us, while they're washing, doing the dishes, they think of the next meal? So when you are doing dishes, washing, you're fully washing, you're fully here. So when you're eating, you're fully eating. Then you can really taste of food, and you can really enjoy your food. But not while you're taking, but you don't know your taste, that your mind goes somewhere else. So a lot of people thinking that, doing nothing, then how can I do nothing? I said, you can sit here, do nothing, but your mind very busy. So when we stop not doing anything, it's not physically not doing anything. So be present whatever you do, just fully here. But sometimes we are physically we are here, but our mind is not here. We're thinking something else, so we are not fully here. So you bring your mind back. So you practice that. And then, because if our mind keep wander off, actually it drains lots of mental energy. So when we fully, whatever we do, one thing at a time, we fully present whatever we do, actually you become more energetic, more efficient. You rather to do one complete job than 10 jobs that is not complete, incomplete. So one thing after one, actually you can find yourself more efficient. So you don't waste your time. Sometimes people think too much before they start. They say, I have to do this, I have to do that. Even before they started, they're already stressed out. But you just do one thing. After you finish, you do the next thing, you do the next thing. So then it's just, actually it's to help to train your mind, become more focused whatever you do. So when you sit in meditation, you train your mind to be focused, then this helps you in your daily life, whatever you do. You're more focused, you're more attentive. Actually, you become more efficient and also more energetic. Okay? Any more questions? Yes?
Are there many modern day examples of normal people that have achieved enlightenment through following the Dhamma of the Buddha?
Yes, but of course, compared to, because now we have a lot of entertainment compared to the simple life in the olden days, a lot of distraction. But as long as there's the true Dharma exists, there always have people that have the enlightenment. We do have see people like some great monk that we know that they're enlightened. So normally it's naturally, even as a lay person, when you have attained that level, you're no longer interested in worldly life. You will become a monk because you're no longer interested. So that's why, even during Buddha's time, lay people still have the lay people that cannot become a monk. They still, attain first stage, second stage, and third stage. But when it comes to third stage, they will naturally become a monk. So they're quite common during Buddha's time. But of course, stay in the monastery, we have like a more conducive place because we have less distraction. Like the environment is more conducive. So that's why it's important, it's up to you to create the environments conducive to your practice. Yes, they are, it's possible. Yeah. Does that answer the question? Okay. Any more questions or comments? Okay, no more questions, no more doubts, okay. So, no more? Okay, gone. So, because it's already 10:30, okay. So we prepare for dana. So we come back at 1:30, okay? The last session.
move house soon, and the reason I wanted to ask you is because last time I did it, I made quite a big mistake, and I got quite isolated. Nobody sort of came to visit. So my concern is that there's a place where I can sort of afford that's not too far from my mum, but it takes me another 20 minutes away from the monastery. So I just wondered if you had any feelings about me and maybe some areas that might be, my mum's in Duncraig, might be good for me and Jasper.
Yeah, so you just have to look at the place that, of course, sometimes you just have to look at the pro and con of if I'm staying here.
Yeah.
So whether I get how the advantages or what the advantages. Of course, you always have both, like advantages and disadvantages, but we have to compare. Sometimes if the advantages is more than disadvantages, so then we just have to select that.